Okay, wonderful news for the free people everywhere that the EU and the UN is in crisis. Yes! Of course, it was definitely enraging to hear about that UN trying to pass laws against free speech and freedom of the press. I mean, we're not living in the 10th century. Come on. We no longer believe the world is flat. We're not this stupid. How stupid do they think they are? That stupid UN apparently thinks they could get away with it. And like I said, the people just aren't going to stand for this. This is blatant totalitarianism. Blatant. And everybody's furious. And so all these riots are going on, and they deserve it. And I even heard that in France, the farmers were spraying the town, Paris, with manure. Good for them. It's a lesson. I hope they spray Macron with manure. Must be the French version of tar and feather. Be good for them. We don't want globalism needs to be chased out of every place. And these UN and EU people just need to slither back into the holes from whence they came. And that's that. I'm glad to see that there's still people standing strong in Britain. We hope we're starting to see some fight and some life in there. I mean, there's still a long way to go. I suppose that Eastern Europe is in a little better place than Western Europe, but we mustn't give up hope. It'll be a little rough, but things can still get back to better times and better laws and more freedom. That's what we need to do. Apparently the public was passive for too long. I mean, Americans have been the same way. Been passive for too long, and the communists kind of snuck in. They snuck in under the guise of leftist politicians. So, we need to keep fighting and keep speaking out. And like I said, look at all the good that Tommy Robinson did for raising awareness for the child sex rings and how Britain was losing its freedom. Like I said, it's amazing how much one person can do. So sometimes we think that one person can't do much, but look what Tommy Robinson did. He kept standing strong, and then the whole world got involved in his arrest, and he really made a force for good. So, anyone tells you one person can't do a lot, think again. Think of Tommy Robinson and all he did. And that's pretty exciting. It was tough for him, but he's finally at a place where things are better. And I believe that shortly things will start to get better in Britain. They're about ready to have the big shake-up with the EU and leaving a no-deal Brexit perhaps in the spring, so we'll see what happens there. But that EU is just on it's on life support. Other countries are getting fed up with it, and the UN, we're getting fed up with it too. UN, who does it think it is? All these groups, they're nothing but drains on the countries. What does the stupid UN do? It's supposed to help prevent wars or something, but I don't see it preventing any. All I do is see a bunch of fat cats sitting back and taking big salaries and trying to dictate to us how to live our lives, and we're not going to stand for it. And like I said, these globalists, they're just so idiotic. The bottom line is they're thinking of their own pocketbook, they're thinking of their own power, they're not thinking of the welfare of the people at all. Because, for instance, they're not thinking of the migrants, because if they were thinking of the migrants, then they would realize that encouraging crowds of migrants to come is bad for them, for the people, because, like you said, they're probably getting robbed and raped on the long trip, and some of them probably getting murdered. And when they get to the country, the conditions are terrible because there's more people than the countries can handle, so they're dying of diseases, they're getting robbed and raped and murdered again. So these migrants are in terrible condition. And then the countries want to say, oh, keep on pouring more migrants in. So they're not for the people. These people are ending up in horrible conditions. They're getting, probably killed and raped and everything terrible. And their lives are a mess. The bottom line is the governments, they want power for themselves. And they feel that they're going to smash their opposition, the opposition to their globalism, by filling the country, overpowering the country with the migrants. And then when the country's been overpowered, then they feel like they'll be the rulers of this permanent poor class. So they're not for the country, and they're not for the people, they're not for the citizens, they're not for the migrants, they're for themselves. Like you said, they want the citizens to shut up and go away, and they are not thinking of the living conditions or the safety conditions for the migrants. They don't care about the ones that are there, they don't care about the ones that are coming. All they care about is their power and their pocketbook. So these politicians are really bad characters, and we'd like nothing better than to see that EU and that UN be dissolved, because they have outlived their usefulness and they're really causing a lot of harm to people around the world. There's better ways to solve these problems, and we would expect that people like them in positions of power would have the intelligence and the knowledge to be able to solve these problems, but instead they're doing stupid things that just benefit themselves. So, no more do I think that these politicians know anything. I think they're pretty stupid, or pretty willfully stupid. And that's why all of us common individuals need to stand up, and we all need to be a Tommy Robinson and pick different aspects of crimes that these governments are committing and just make a stand. Make a stand. Okay. So, we're glad that there's some flickers of life happening in Britain and nearby in France, and things are hopefully changing for the better. And we hope that 2019 will be a great year for freedom for the people of Europe. God bless. Happy New Year.